Hey, it's your girl, Confident Miss Bling. Yes, it's been a minute, but y'all knew I was coming back in October. Why? Because it's Libra season. And we have some amazing guests coming through this month. The first guest that we're going to have, we are going to, first of all, it's Breast Cancer Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're going to be doing a lot with these things just to make sure that you are aware. This is an awareness month, literally. So I'm going to have some amazing guests on the show. I have an amazing guest that's going to be on the show today. I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. This is my sis. She's amazing, and she loves pink. I love purple. She loves pink. So I'm going to bring her here right now. Suncera.
My fellow Libra.
Yes. Happy birthday in advance.
Happy birthday in advance to you. I know you're just a couple of days away.
Yes. And I'm so excited because so my plans got sideswiped by the hurricane. Are y'all getting any effect of the hurricane now?
No. We had some rain a couple of days ago, but there was nothing major.
Okay, because when I first looked, it said it was gonna like directly hit the coastal parts of Georgia, and so I had told them, I was like, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to cancel my plans because. And then after I canceled, then he was like, well, it's not gonna come here anyway, and I'm like, okay, well, we just gonna cancel because at this point I had already started planning something else here in Atlanta. So,
sis, it's our birthday month.
Yes,
month. Okay.
Yes. It is.
It's just the first day to celebrate our birthday, okay?
Yes. So I'm like, it's all good. We got some little sporadic stuff that's gonna be happening this whole week. So you'll see me live here, there, and everywhere. But just wanted to say thank you for coming to be a guest on Bling Radio Show. This is actually a Blingy Check-in, because we check in with each other, periodically. Definitely on social media. She has some stuff going on. She's an author and a whole bunch of amazing other things that she's going to share with you. We met, through entertainment. So through a group, a Facebook group, and we've been, staying in contact ever since. So, my sister Suncera, she is here to share some amazing things with you. So I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to catch up. Because they don't know. So we're going to catch up about your career path in in TV. Let's talk about that. Like where you started at and, where you ended up.
Oh, okay. So I started my career in television several years ago. And I started as an administrative assistant at Spike TV. And it was a temp job. And I eventually went on to become an assistant at MTV. And I started doing some independent production stuff on my own. Never went to school for film, for television, for anything. Just felt like it was something that I wanted to do and started doing it. And my boss noticed that. People were coming to him within the building and saying, hey, I heard you're getting stuff done. Like VH1 Soul was still around and I got an artist video placed there. I produced a 1-hour special called The Faces of MTV for a Fox affiliate network in Arizona. And it included key people from MTV who had never been on camera before. It was during the time that the Rock Band game came out, and I had amazing relationships with the PR team for that game. So I had some access, and I helped secure licensing for a lot of songs for that game. That was part of my job, to facilitate the process. So from there, my boss literally had someone create a job for me to become a producer. I didn't go the traditional route. I wasn't a production assistant, production manager. I literally went from assistant to producer. And my first production gig was to fly to LA and to do the DVD extras for a movie of a show that had been on Logo. It was called Noah's Ark. And it was about African-American gay men. And that was my first actual production gig. I did a lot of stuff with MTV after that. And then 2009, the recession hit. I was laid off. And then I started doing things with independent production, with different production companies, not affiliated with a network. And that was different for me to be outside of a network. So that's why I worked on shows like Celebrity Apprentice. I did, I did The Voice, a bunch of competition shows, and I worked on Light Girls, a documentary, which we were nominated for an NAACP Image Award. Worked with Bill Duke on that, and a couple other people as well. And I kind of phased out of television after a while, and I was asked to join a company that started when the YouTube phase started. And so I went with a company that was developing 5 celebrity-based network channels on YouTube. And one of them was Jay-Z's Life and Times on YouTube. So I was picked to do the marketing, to do the PR and the social media, and was actually responsible for the growth of the channel. So in under 2 years, I took that channel from 0 views, from launching it, which we launched with a live stream of his concert in Brooklyn. And I took that channel from 0 views up to over 3 billion monetizable views and 3 million subscribers in under 2 years. And when I say that, people are like, yeah, it's Jay-Z and it was his YouTube channel, but Jay didn't do any press about it, right? He didn't tell people about it. So it literally, the onus was on me. I didn't use his PR team or whatever. I used my relationships that I had developed over the years in television with bloggers, with media outlets, online and in person. And from there, I started doing some writing actually for media outlets as well. And when I left the channel, when I left that company, it was a multi-channel, is what it was called, because it had several channels. So when I left, I decided to start my own business, which was Amass Digital, because I had learned how to develop audiences across social media. When I first started on Twitter, I would get like 30, 40 responses every time somebody tweeted to me. And I thought that was normal. I didn't know this was like very early in the day of social media. And I just kind of innately picked up how to do audience development. And after that time, the company was successful for many, many years. And then unfortunately, at the end of 2021, I mean, the pandemic happened, a lot of things happened with people's businesses. And I would still take on clients from time to time, but when the business was in its prime, I had clients like iHeartMedia, CBS Digital, and I worked with brands like McDonald's, Pepsi, Toyota, Heineken, and Delta Airlines, and doing amazing campaigns with them, amazing work. And then the pandemic hit, and then at the end of the pandemic, December 27th, 2021, my son was murdered. And I did not feel like running the business anymore. I had been doing online Bible studies during the pandemic, and my heart's desire was to do more writing, to focus more on my writing, but especially after the loss of my son, I wanted to do more mission-driven work, more purpose-driven work, and that kind of led the path for where I am today now.
Okay. Now, and I've said it to you, but my condolences again. You know, I can't imagine what that's been like, and I know that was a journey in itself. We're going to roll into talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The first thing I want you to do is, can you explain the significance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month and why you chose to become such a vocal advocate for Breast Cancer Month?
So I'll tell you, it is actually a perfect segue, because a year before my son died, he called me and he was crying hysterically. And when I asked him what was wrong, he said, "Mom, I feel like you're sick and you're not telling me. I feel like you have cancer." And I said, why do you think that? And he said, because I'd cut my hair, I was wearing it short. And I've done this several times
Yeah.
in my life. And he said, because your hair was short and you lost weight. I was like, baby, I need to lose weight. And he was really like, I've never heard him cry like that. He was so thoroughly convinced that I had breast cancer. He knew the history of my mother and my aunt who passed away 30 days apart from each other years ago with
Okay.
breast cancer. So with Breast Cancer Awareness Month, one of the things that's really why it's important to me is because, especially in our community, breast cancer is the most common cancer, and it is actually the leading cause of cancer deaths in women. And the first time I heard the word breast cancer was when I was about 7 years old, and one of my mother's friends died from breast cancer. And I remember my mother saying that her breast was hard as a rock. And of course, then I didn't comprehend what breast cancer was. In
Right.
fact, when I lost my mom and my aunt both in 2007, I did not know nearly as much as I do now about
Okay.
breast cancer. And one of the things that I have a heart for, especially because of things that I experienced in my own personal journey, is to share with people information about breast cancer in general, but
Okay.
also to bring awareness to disparities. And disparities are things that cause people to receive less than treatment, or they could be barriers to treatment at all. A lot of us don't have healthcare insurance. I didn't have healthcare insurance when my journey first started. A lot of there's underinsured, or just people not insured. But then there's also people who have insurance, and they may not be receiving the best care. They don't know how to advocate for themselves.
Right.
We're not taught to go in the doctor's office and challenge the doctor. And that happened to me at some point in my journey. There was a certain treatment protocol that the doctors wanted to do. We'll discuss that later. And I didn't want to do it. And they had to convince me to do it. And what I appreciated was the doctor empowered me. Instead of, you don't want to. And she put it in plain terms so that I could understand what the benefits of the treatments were, and even said to me, you're going to be on medication for 5 years. So if you get the treatment, don't start the medication until after. If you decide not to do the treatment, here's your prescription for the medication. So she really empowered me to make a solid decision about what I felt was best for my healthcare.
Okay. Okay. And so you were diagnosed in January of this year, and we're kind of talking about, testing and everything. So what kind of test did you take, and what was the process that led you to your diagnosis?
So my process actually started in November
Okay.
of last year. After the loss of my son, I fell victim to a serial sexual predator. That's another story that is literally in the memoir that I'm writing, a serial sexual predator. And I see the look on your face. Yes. So that's another story in itself, or another time. There's a legal process, criminal charges going on right now. But I say that to say, because I was still moving the law when that happened, right? As a result of the legal process, there was a lawsuit. And at the time that I started, one of my friends got her mammogram, and she had an area of concern. Well, I hadn't had a mammogram since the pandemic. Like many women, we put it off. We didn't think about it. Then my son died at the end of the pandemic. So a mammogram was not top of mind for me. And then shortly after, my friend went and had her mammogram and had an area of concern. I got out of the shower one day, and I went in my bedroom to get dressed, and I brushed my arm across my breast, and I felt something wet. And I was bothered, but not particularly much. And then a couple of days later, I noticed it again. So I put a tissue in my bra. And one day I felt, and when I went to take the tissue out, I noticed it was wet, and I squeezed my nipple, and it was a discharge coming from it. So by that time, I had already scheduled the mammogram because of my friend. And then I started having these symptoms. So the first thing that happened was I went to a doctor to get a regular mammogram. She ended up not doing regular mammogram. She sent me to get a 3D mammogram. One thing that she did a breast exam, she couldn't find anything. There was no lumps. I didn't have any lumps. I didn't have any of that. I just had this leakage, which could have been a couple of other things. And it was sporadic. And it was so sporadic that by the time I got diagnosed, it had stopped. And when I went for the 3D ultrasound, the other thing is that women of color typically have larger breasts, and so they have dense breasts. So sometimes you'll have to go back for that 3D mammogram, that ultrasound, and then ultrasound guided biopsy for them to see exactly what it was. When I saw the 3D mammogram, I knew that it was cancer. And the reason I knew was because I've had several friends, 2 good friends in the past 2 years who I've lost to breast cancer, but they've shared what it looks like on the scans. And so I was in that wide area. So I knew before they told me, and I was concerned. And it looks small, but I'm not a doctor, so I didn't know. So after I had the mammogram, then I had ultrasound guided biopsy, and what they do with that is they numb you, and then they stick a needle, and there's this camera, and you actually see them going to take tissue out, so they can send it off to a lab to determine whether or not it is cancer.
Okay. I experienced that with my thyroid. There was some nodules that they found, and it was scary because I'm like, the first thing they said was it could be cancer, and I'm like, okay. So I understand where that part of the procedure that you explained was what as you were saying it, that was the same exact process for me, but this is different because this is with the breast. So, were you afraid?
So, I wasn't. I think that the people in my life who love and care for me were more afraid than I was. I found out about my diagnosis. I found out that I actually had breast cancer through the MyChart app when I was on a flight going to Florida to see my daughter.
Okay.
Well, the thing that I will tell people about the MyChart app is that it's good, it's great, except when your doctor does not follow up, and that's what happened with me. I got the diagnosis on the app, and it took 3 days for the doctor to call me. Now, by that time, in November, shortly before I got my diagnosis, I got a settlement from a lawsuit involving the sexual predator. And that allowed me to get phenomenal health care coverage. Like, that literally saved my life. So that goes back to my son's murder. I wouldn't have the predator if it hadn't been for my son's murder. And if I hadn't filed the lawsuit against the predator, I don't know what my cancer care would have been like. So when that doctor called me for 3 days, what I did, I called MSK, Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York and New Jersey, and I didn't even check to see if my insurance covered them. I knew that's where I wanted to go. So I wasn't afraid. I knew that I had a family history, and I had been told I was high risk. My mother had it, her only sibling had it, and I think there was always a part of me, if I'm being completely honest, that kind of expected a diagnosis, right? Before I got the results, I knew that it was cancer. For me, it was just a matter of educating myself to see how serious it was. That's what I wanted, what I wanted to know. I needed a doctor to convey to me what the test results were. Now, what distilled my fears completely was when I called MSK and I got a doctor. She said to me, "Has anyone discussed your results with you?" And I said, "No." She said, "I'm going to spend an hour with you." And she did that. And what she did was she got a sheet of paper, which I carry with me, and she literally, there was a diagram of a breast, and she wrote down each case scenario. I think you have this, and this is what we're going to do. And it turns out I actually had 2 forms of breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
The nipple area where the discharge was not cancer. It was, well, it was DCIS. That's stage 0 cancer. Literally, it hasn't developed, it hasn't spread or anything.
Okay.
And then further in the back was invasive ductal carcinoma, which was a more invasive cancer, which that one really had the propensity and the ability to spread. But she told me what stage she thought was at. She knew she would have more details after surgery and another biopsy after surgery. And I just got to say that knowledge is power. And having reassurance from my doctor, when I went in there, I literally, my first question was, am I gonna get a free tummy tuck and new boobs? Because I was expecting to have a double mastectomy because of my family history.
Okay.
But thankfully they did genetic testing, and I don't even carry the cancer gene. So I didn't inherit it.
Wow.
So women need to hear that, and they need to understand, go get tested. Regardless of what your family history is, go get tested. And that early, mine was after the surgery, it was completely gone because it was detected early enough.
Okay. Okay. And I know I can't thank you enough for being here to share your story, because I know I was saying, okay, it's about that time. I'm about to be 45 and I need to get a mammogram. Everybody talks about how it hurts, how scary it is, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, this can save your life as well.
And the other thing is that if you delay it, and that's one of the disparities, a lot of women go later in life, right? I encourage every woman to push, especially if they have a family history, push your doctor to go get, as soon as your insurance will cover a mammogram, get it. If not, there are free resources all over the country. That's why I got a free mammogram. There's a young lady that I did, what we'll talk about later, I did the campaign for Bloomingdale's with, and she actually had breast cancer in her 20s. And she had to advocate for herself, and it came back again. And when it came back the second time, she knew she had breast cancer because of what had happened to her before. And she had to go to several doctors and say, I have breast cancer. Like, forget about the age. The ages that women are being diagnosed is younger and younger nowadays. And I urge everyone to pay attention to your breasts. Do a monthly self-exam. But also keep in mind, monthly self-exams didn't catch breast cancer, right? And the discharge that I had, it stopped. I could have not gone to the doctor. It stopped, and I could have thought that it was a fluke or something else. Go, be diligent about your health, because it really could save your life.
Right. Absolutely. I'm definitely making an appointment to go.
Good.
And I will share results with you, because I mean, it's a lot of people around me that have had it. It's some that passed. It's some that are, survivors, and it's just important to do. We just don't know. Like you said, you did not know, like, all the things that were signs that stopped. So had you not went to the doctor, who knows, where we would be right now.
Right. It more than likely would have been more advanced.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what things did people do that was helpful during your treatment?
So I have an amazing group of friends. I call them my girl gang. My closest friends, I call them my girl gang. And what I did was I was proactive, and I knew I did Zoom with all of them to go over any questions that they may have, because I didn't want to have the conversation over and over again. Because when you receive the diagnosis, your body, your mind goes into fight or flight mode, right?
Right.
So brain fog, you forget things. It's a lot of information coming at you. So
Yeah.
I want to share that information with the people closest to me. One, because what happens is you get the diagnosis and the people around you are more afraid than you are. Because to a lot of people, they hear cancer and it means death, period. It means you're going to die, period. You're going to become an invalid. Your quality of life is going to change. And that is not always the case, especially with early detection.
Right.
So I had a Zoom call with all of them. And what was helpful to me was that I live in South Carolina. My care was in New York and New Jersey. And I had two amazing friends that allowed me to stay in their house and stay with them during my treatment for several months at a time. One was a couple of weeks, one was several months at a time. But the other thing is that my friends were the ultimate definition of showing up. On the day of my surgery, my daughter was in Florida. She has 4 children, so she couldn't be there. Two of my friends, one from South Jersey and one from Philly, were there with me. When we went to check in, they said, wait, 2 people came for your surgery? I was like, my friends were fighting over who's going to show up at my surgery. They really wanted to be there for me. Another friend, while I was recovering, sent my favorite meal. She lives in Pennsylvania, but she had a friend who was in New Jersey, close to where I was. So she sent her friend to come and deliver, my favorite meal to me. They showed up emotionally for me. They called, they kept each other connected and in touch with each other. So that's the burden of me having to repeat myself over and over again.
Okay. And so that's just so beautiful. Especially at a time like that, you don't need anything negative. Everything needs to be positive.
Right.
In those moments. And so with that being said, was there some things that people did that was not helpful during your treatment?
Yes. Let's talk about those things.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding. Number one. When I posted especially once I posted my diagnosis on social media, and these were not my friends, I advise people to know their friends before they need their friends.
Absolutely.
Know your friends before you need your friends, because when you get the diagnosis, I got to be honest, when I got the diagnosis and we did the Zoom, everybody said, what do you need? I couldn't think of what I needed. I didn't know what I needed. Because your mind is just thinking about the logistics of things, right? I knew I needed a place to stay, but I didn't know things, that I needed. And so one of the things, the number one, and I've had conversations with survivors, thrivers, and patients, and the number one thing is offering medical advice that we never asked for. It seems that everybody has a cure for cancer except the doctors. And I would get these YouTube links using ivermectin, dog warmer, CMOS, like all of these things. And Dr. Sebi said, and all of these things. And what people fail to understand is that breast cancer is not one disease. Right. There are multiple types of breast cancer. And there's multiple factors that impact breast cancer. So I had 2 different types of breast cancer. The first one was the DCIS, which was stage 0. That's non-invasive. It did not spread, the likelihood of it spreading, So the treatment for that was to cut off my nipple, to get rid of where it was, right? The second cancer that I had was an invasive. So that's a non-invasive cancer. I had an invasive cancer, and that one could have spread. It didn't. However, it didn't. So thankfully, they took a lymph node. I had 16 rounds of radiation treatment after that. After my first surgery, I had reconstructive surgery and then breast reduction surgery, so my breast wouldn't be so dense. And I got a lift. And was happy about that. So people don't understand when they give medical information, one, you're really putting people's lives at risk. How arrogant is that? And 10 times out of 10, every time that information was presented to me, it was presented to me by somebody who never had breast cancer. So that was one of the things that was not helpful. The second thing that was not helpful was, it kind of goes into the same thing that happened when I lost my son. I got a lot of people, call me if you need to talk. I'll call you if I need to talk. But don't feel, if you don't hear from me, you don't need to call me constantly, because I'm going to call you if I feel like talking. And respect my decision, what to share, when to share, and how I share it, right? I may not want to share this is different, right? There's certain things about my journey that I'm just not going to share with people privately and intimately unless we have that one-on-one relationship. So the other thing is that there's this thing that I call in another book that I'm writing, comparative grief, right? And then when my son was murdered. So for example, when he was murdered, I had someone say to me, who I love dearly, I know exactly how you feel because my sister's son was a victim of gun violence. No one knows exactly how I feel because no one had the relationship with my son that I had. Right? And you don't even know the circumstances. You don't even know what happened. My daughter has her own grief. His children have their own grief. His friends have their own grief. There's different. Let people mourn and grieve and adjust the information the way they do. So in terms of the cancer, it was not helpful for people who never had cancer to say, I know how you feel because my sister had cancer. You don't even know what stage, what type, and each cancer diagnosis is as unique as the individual. Because while I had no pre-existing health conditions, some people come to cancer with diabetes, high blood pressure, and a host of other things. Cancer at different stages has spread, Stop giving people medical advice and let them be.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think some people try to just say some things to relate to the situation, or just trying to find words to say, but just don't know what to say. Sometimes my mama said, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. If you don't know what to say, don't say nothing.
So when I lost my son, a good friend of mine said to me, I don't know what to say. And I cried because I was so happy to hear somebody say that. And I said to them, that's okay, because if the shoe were on the other feet, I wouldn't know what to say to you. Right. Yeah. And with cancer, what both the loss of my son and the cancer taught me is I have made a decision. I am no longer going to be uncomfortable because of someone else's uncomfortability. Meaning, the reason that people say things is precisely what you said. They feel a need to try to make you feel better. They feel some type of sense of urgency to say something that's going to help you. Your words will not help. Nothing that you can say will impact my cancer diagnosis, right? If you know me as a friend, you know what, you can give me a hug, or some words to say, but there's nothing that you can say to a cancer patient that's going to change their diagnosis. So don't do it.
Right.
And I would hear from people, especially when it came to my son's loss. Well, they had good intentions. The people with the medical advice. Well, they're trying to help. You're not helping. Shut up. You're not helping. Shut up.
Yes. 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 Well. On that note, we just gonna go to the next question. What do you want people to know who have loved ones who are diagnosed? Like, what do you want them to know?
I want them to know that, first of all, it's not a death sentence. cancer has made so many strides. There are so many options and so many treatments. That's the first thing. The second of all is I want them to know that the patient has the right to choose. I remember a good friend of mine years ago, she had triple negative breast cancer. That is one of the fastest spreading, and that is one of the hardest. Like, there's no cure for that cancer, right? It'll spread, it'll metastasize. And I remember when she got diagnosed the second time, and she told me she was not going to get treatment. And that broke my heart, because my mother made the same decision, and we lost my mother as a result. And I couldn't say to her, how dare I say to her, girl, you better get this treatment because I don't want to live without you. That was her decision to make. She ultimately did make a decision to get treatment, and she even participated in a clinical trial, which extended her life for a while. But let them make the decision. Let them make the decision. And the third thing, and most importantly, is that they're alive. Don't talk to them about the cancer all the time. If you used to talk to them about movies, talk to them about movies. If you used to be in their book club, still treat them as a person, not as the illness.
Yes. Oh, that was, treat them as a person and not as the illness.
And not as the illness. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome advice. And you would, what would you wish that people knew about breast cancer survivorship? Because I know this is your life right now. So
this is my life right now. So I've had conversations with several survivors, and actually I had a doctor's appointment a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying that she recently had a patient who was a nurse. And she thought, like me, I got diagnosed in January. March 7th was my surgery. When I came out of the surgery, the doctor said we got all of the cancer out. And then we got the biopsies, and I was cancer-free. So I've been cancer-free since my surgery on March 7th. Some people just ended a journey. It's not. I still had to go to radiation. And after radiation, I was exhausted. I couldn't function longer than 15 minutes at a time without taking a nap. I still have some of that fatigue, because fatigue is different from being tired. Tired, you can go to sleep and you feel better. Fatigue, you can get rest and it doesn't do anything for it. And now I'm on medication for 5 years, and that impacts me. Sometimes I'm tired. I have dry, you see me constantly drinking stuff. Sometimes I get nauseous. Some days I don't have an appetite. There's a host of things that come with that. And what's hard about survivorship is it's kind of messes up your mind when you hear I'm cancer free. But the truth is, before I started getting treated for the cancer, I didn't have any of these symptoms. I didn't have any of this stuff, right? So sometimes the cure feels worse than the initial illness without you having any treatment or whatever, but it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. And as I say, whenever I have a bad day, I always say, but the alternative is not an option. Having cancer is not an option.
Yeah. Okay. I know I did. I know I reached out to you, like, I think I reached out to you because we were going to do this another day, but you just let me know that you weren't feeling well and everything. So I was like, okay, no pressure. We can do this another time, but you had some amazing news that you said you wanted to share that was going to actually go live today. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about being chosen.
That's amazing news. So I've been blessed to be part of a couple of national campaigns in conjunction with the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Wait, I gotta pull out Clappy. Hold on.
Okay. Yes. So the first one that went live actually was in conjunction with Bloomingdale's, and it was by Pink. It was Give Pink, Get More. So if you go to the bloomingdales.com website, you click on the Give Pink, Get More, you'll see myself and 3 other survivors We're
Okay.
the Thrivers, and you'll see our story. So that's going to be on their website, and the campaign goes from now to the end of October. So that benefits the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. I love them. They literally are looking for the cure for cancer. Their money goes where they say it goes. There's no issues. They provide grants to researchers. They're doing amazing things. And then, so we did that photo shoot in New York, and I was 2 weeks post radiation, and I was exhausted. But I
Okay.
showed up, and we had an amazing shoot. We had a great time. They great team. And then the second campaign is Research is the Reason, and that's in conjunction with the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And they did that photo shoot with me and my grandson. So those pictures will be used in a couple of different national campaigns. The first was today, October 1st, with their picture of myself and my grandson at Grand Central Station in New York, where the Breast
Awesome.
Cancer Research Foundation was live. So they'll be used in other events, throughout the year. And at some point, my story will be live on the Breast Cancer Research Foundation website. So I'm excited about that.
Yes, that is so amazing. Like, first of all, that's two major campaigns.
Yeah, they are. They are. They are.
Like, I don't expect anything less. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like, the diagnosis just was in January, and then here you come with two major campaigns that launch on breast cancer. Like,
Not just me. That was God. It was
yeah,
God. And you know what? It actually goes back to my days of being in media. And this is why I talk about relationships and the importance of relationships
yeah.
with people. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see the story. It's myself, Keisha, and Blaine Jeffries. And Keisha used to be the president of a PR society in New York. I was on the board of directors, and Blaine worked with us. She was a member as well. And years later, we stayed in touch through social media. And one day I posted my story on LinkedIn, shared part of my story. She said, "We look forward to amplifying your story." And so I went to her with what I thought was an ask, because as I said, I'm working on my memoir, and the memoir combines those three tragic events in my life, but it shows how they all worked out, God's plan, that
Yeah.
they worked out to save my life. But more importantly, each section had a subject matter expert, and I wanted the Breast Cancer Research Foundation to provide some resources for that. So I thought I was going to her for an ask, and she came to me and said, "Listen, we want you to do these campaigns with us." And the first one came, and then the first one was the pictures with me and my grandson, then the second one from
Okay.
Bloomingdale. So I'm just grateful for that, because
Yeah.
it's really what spearheaded me, because I to jump this mission of mine to be an advocate for breast cancer awareness. And the other thing that started today was my 1 in 8 campaign. 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed this year, be diagnosed within their lifetime. 1 in 8 women, let me phrase that properly. 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer sometime in their life. So the 1 in 8 challenge is for each woman to schedule their mammogram, and then to share, to speak to 7 of their friends
Okay.
and have them get mammograms as well. So I'll be posting about it throughout on my social media, Lifestyle by Suncera, on Instagram, my Facebook page, Threads. I'm heavy on Threads now. I love the Threads community. Threads has such a phenomenal, supportive cancer community for anyone who may be facing a diagnosis, testing, or whatever.
Okay.
But so the 1 in 8 campaign, and I want to encourage women, listen, it takes a village, right? And
Yeah.
you have friends, you have people that you love, get the mammogram done.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I joined the group today.
Thank
And
you.
I'm on
Thank
assignment. Yeah, I'm on assignment. So I'm gonna make sure that I get some people to, join the group. And like you said, I remember one of my friends, we were in our 20s,
you.
and she had breast cancer, but she found out too late.
Right.
and died. Like we were mid-20s.
Yeah.
So it's, we were told, oh, you get mammograms when you turn 40. So
I think that's the importance of one advocating for yourself, and
yeah,
also having a doctor that you're comfortable with. Right? If you have a doctor who knows your history and you're really comfortable with, and here's the thing, if you don't, change doctor,
yeah,
change doctors. If you have a therapist you're not comfortable with, change therapists.
yes,
You have a relationship you're not comfortable with, right? You get out of a relationship, or you just accept that you're going to be uncomfortable. Think about how much more important your health is.
exactly.
So if you have a doctor that doesn't answer your questions, that is not listening to your concerns, and we have a lot of that, people tend to underplay uh, our pain as men of color, right? Sometimes we have I know I have a high tolerance for pain. Years ago, I had an ovarian cyst, and I remember I didn't realize how large it was. It was the size of a grapefruit, twisted around my ovary.
Oh
And
my
the doctor said to me, and at that time I was commuting from Connecticut to New York every day. And my doctor said, "Why are you being a martyr? You're in pain." I wouldn't take pain medication because I have a very high tolerance for pain. And guess what? I ended up having to have emergency surgery. So pay attention to your pain. Don't minimize, and don't allow any doctor to minimize you as well. So you feel like you want a mammogram, there are resources out there for you to get them.
yeah, you're right. And as I got older, I learned that
Mhm.
when we're younger, we don't know.
We don't know. We
Unless
don't
we
know.
have somebody that advocate for them with us, or
Mhm.
someone that's knowledgeable to let us know.
Mhm.
You don't have to wait. Like telling us what you're telling me right now. Somebody that's listening, you know, that's probably gonna put some fire up under them. So
And I hope so. That's my whole mission. Go get a mammogram. That's the first place to start. Go and get the test. And listen, if you're afraid to go get the test, tell a friend. Have a friend go with you. And let's
yeah,
talk about, I do want to talk about this real quick. People talk about the pain of a mammogram, right? They
yeah,
say it's painful. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's not. I have some that are not painful, they're just uncomfortable. But I've had some, especially the ones that I had to detect it because it was so far back in my breast. When it's painful. But you know what's more painful? Breast cancer surgery.
mm,
That's more painful. That's
yeah,
more painful. That having having to cut your boobs, and then having surgical drained, and being unable to get out of bed and moving. Like I still am healing. My wounds is 6 months post surgery now. Not
yeah.
even yeah. I'm 6 months post surgery now, and I still have some tenderness. I still have some nerve pain. I still have all of that.
Okay,
Everything, the treatment for cancer, that you don't want that. What hurts the most? Losing both of your boobs. Like, especially when it could have been prevented. There are some cases, depending on the type of cancer, but just think about that for a minute. Like, give yourself the best chance at survival.
yes,
Just get a mammogram, get it done.
absolutely, absolutely. And one of the last things I want to talk to you about is you have a upcoming book release. This
Mm.
title is just so strong. I have
Mhm.
cancer. Cancer doesn't have me. Um, let's talk about that.
So that was when you asked, was I afraid? Literally, that was the attitude I adopted. In fact, I had one hoodie made, and it was with the cover, it matches the cover of the book, and it said, "I have cancer, cancer doesn't have me." So I was not going to be defined by my diagnosis. I was not going to disrupt my life any more than necessary because of my diagnosis. I knew that I had the power over the cancer. I was not going to give cancer the power over me. And the
Okay.
reason I decided to write this book, excuse me, part of it is it details my experience with breast cancer, but it also goes into the types of tests, some of those things that we discussed earlier today, what you can expect from it, the different types of tests, what can potentially happen. And then it has a space for you to journal, because the doctors give you so much information. And my doctors, while they did print out, I just couldn't take a big workbook with me. And there were times I had questions, right? And if you write them down, you forget them. I kept them in my phone, but I felt like it would be so helpful if I just had one book with my doctor's number, with my diagnosis, with the questions for the doctors, when my next appointments were. And that's the purpose of this book, you know, with inspiration sprinkled throughout, of course. You know, different quotes, different Bible verses and scriptures as well, to help you get through every stage of cancer, from detection all the way through to survivorship.
Amazing. That is amazing. And when would it be available? Is it available now, or when would it be available?
So pre-orders start on October 12th. I know it's a Sunday, but it's my birthday.
Absolutely.
So October 12th is when pre-orders. It will release on November 1st, right after Breast Cancer Awareness Month, because I want the conversation to continue afterwards, right?
Right.
Because it's lifelong. It's lifelong. Like, I have to go for another mammogram at the end of this year. Every time we go for another test, we're waiting for, waiting for the results. We're wishing for the best, but we never know what those results are going to be. So people can go to suncerawritesbooks.com. My name, you see it on the screen, Suncera Writes, WRITES books, BOOKS.com. There you find a link to join the 1 in 8 challenge for the Facebook group. There you'll find all of my socials. You'll find a list of my books that I've already written. You'll find the launch date, the event where you can go sign up, and you'll be notified when the book is available for pre-order.
Awesome. And let them know, let everybody know where they can find you. Because I know you told them the website, but let them know, the social media and any other places that you want them to find you, to contact you if they have any questions about, breast cancer awareness, or, being a survivor.
Right. So I'm going to do something I never do. And it's because it's breast cancer awareness. I'm going to give out my direct personal email account. And it's my name, suncera.johnson@gmail.com. Make sure you put in the subject matter succinctly what it is. It could be, where do I get a mammogram, right? I will help you find resources. Whatever resources that I have and that I'm aware of, I'm willing to share those with people, no matter where they are within the United States, because that's where my relationships are. But they can contact me there. Instagram and Threads are my primary social media. Again, both of those are the same, Lifestyle by Suncera. My name, Suncera.
Okay. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if you want me to come speak to your groups, if you have an event or whatever, I'm available for those as well. Just reach out, send me an email.
Awesome. I truly appreciate you. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm here anytime you want to come back. We are going to do a giveaway with the book as well. So and if anything, if you need to come back, just to share any of the other amazing things that you're going to be doing, because I know that it's going to be some other things that you're going to be doing.
A couple of things going on this month. I got to be honest. A couple of things, yes.
I figured there's some other stuff going on. So if it's something you want to share, you're more than welcome to come back and let us know what's going on.
Oh, before we go, one thing.
What?
Thank you so much for this amazing bag you created for me.
Yes. Oh my God. It looks so good on camera on the other side.
I get all of the compliments, all of the reactions, and I take it when I travel, and I forget that I have it. And people will come to me and they'll kind of touch me on the shoulder and they'll say, "I'm so happy for you. Congratulations." I'm like, "What?" And then I forget there's a breast cancer warrior,
Oh my God, yeah.
But it's my favorite color. It matches everything I have because I'm all pink everything. And yes. Thank you so much for creating that for me. It is a unique, one-of-a-kind piece, and it is perfect.
I appreciate that. This is a live review on my bag. The first time I ever had a live review on my bag.
Oh, wow.
So I'm gonna say this. When I just recently, earlier this year or very late last year, I think it was very late last year, but very early this year. I said I wanted to do something different with my jackets. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get into patches. So I found this girl, with this lady in Chicago, who has been doing patches, but I wasn't, purchasing patches like that.
Right.
But I always wanted to patch a jacket. I end up getting some patches from her, and then I just didn't know what to get. Well, anyway, I saw that Survivor patch that I put on there. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said,
make sure you see it.
Yes. Yes. I said, I don't know who this is going to be for.
Aww.
This is going to be for somebody special.
Mm-hmm.
And I purchased it because I had no reason to purchase it, but I just put it in the cart and just kept it. And when you hit me up, you was like, that pink bag is mine. I was like, okay. And then, you said you wanted it to be a breast cancer bag. I knew exactly in that moment what was going on that bag, and it was that Survivor patch.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Whether we know it or not, and whether we like it or not. But,
yes.
God knows all things come together for good.
So I'm working on something else for you.
Oh!
This is just the beginning, but it's a hat. Give cancer the boo.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So, of course, it's going to be blingy.
So you're going to make me do a photo shoot with your bag and that hat. You know that, right?
I might just even have to throw in a shirt.
Listen, I'm have my photographer come and do what we do.
Okay. Like, yeah, so I got you. I got you. This hat is going to be completely bling.
Okay. I'm so excited. I'm super excited.
So I was like, oh, you was like, oh, let me show you this. No, let me show you this. Okay. So yes, I do appreciate you. I
appreciate you too, sis.
Either gonna make my way to you or you make your way to me, whichever.
Yes,
we not that far from each other.
I know you got to come to the beach. You got to come to the beach.
I'm gonna come to the beach.
Okay. All right.
To the beach. And you've been to Atlanta. Who knows how many times?
You got to come to the beach.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna be there. I don't know when, but I'm coming soon.
That's okay. I'll be here.
All right.
All right. I love you.
Thank you
so much. I'm so glad we had this conversation, and I hope it helps. Listen, you said you're going to get your mammogram. My work here is done.
Yes.
Marching orders 1 in 8, get 7 more people.
Yep.
And we're all good.
Okay. I got you.
All right. Thank you so much, sis.
No problem. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right, that was Suncera. She's just amazing, and I'm so glad to have her here to speak about breast cancer awareness. It's very, very important. I'm definitely going to. Actually, I went in the phone in my app with Kaiser the other day to go ahead and make the appointment, but I couldn't make the appointment through the app, so I have to call because something was going on with the app. So I did try to make my appointment the other day, y'all, but something's going on. So I'm going to call them tomorrow to make that appointment. Try to do it while I'm still on vacation. But yes, guys, her Instagram is at Lifestyle by Suncera, and she did tell you that her website is suncerawritebooks.com. Make sure you go there and see what she has going on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Blingy Love, I am out. Peace.